I accept you. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another episode of PokeTalk, and today's episode of PokeTalk is going to be my review on the latest episode of Pokemon Pocket Monsters, Episode 2, Ash and Go by Lugia. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this episode was really great. The animation was friggin' beautiful, the music was spot on. Other than maybe one or two little gripes, I think this episode could have been a 10 out of 10 except for two little gripes I had about the episode, but we'll talk about all of that soon enough. So, at risk of further rambling, let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode begins with Ash, who is being woke up by his mother after Pikachu failed to wake him up. Ash, of course, fell asleep, and it's the typical running gag. He sleeps in. Pikachu tries to wake him up, but fails by means of electrocution, kind of a cruel way to wake your trainer up, Pikachu, but it doesn't work, unfortunately. So anyway, Ash's mom comes in, wakes him up, and Ash goes to Professor Oak's lab, where Professor Oak invites him to go with him to Sakuragi Labs, which is opening. Professor Oak wants to take him to the opening of this lab. So Ash and him set off, but before they do, however, Delia shows up and decides, oh, you're going to Viridian City, I want to go, and so the entire gang is off as they head towards the Sakuragi Labs. And once they get there, Ash gets out and he's going into the lab, and he runs into Koharu's Yamper, and Yamper, of course, electrocutes him when he gets too friendly with it. And when he does this, Ash goes to the ground. He's completely electrocuted. He's knocked out. He's charred. Pikachu is just standing off to the side, and Pikachu and Yamper start bonding. And it's about this time Koharu arrives, and Koharu is just freaked out by Ash just laying there. We see her do a weird-looking expression as she kind of not so gently slides off to the side and walks forward like, not my problem. And so, yeah, we see Ash finally wake up, and he goes into the lab with Professor Oak. And we then go in to Go, who is out on the tower there, and he's observing the sky because he's about ready to have a breakthrough experience, or he's about ready to have this great experience. By that, of course, he means Lugia showing up, although it doesn't specify that. So back to the labs, Ash is there, the Sakuragi Institute opens up, and it's about this time that the readings go off that an exceedingly rare Pokemon is going to show up at the harbor, and it turns out to be Lugia, and we even see Go out there counting down to it showing up, and he's kind of freaked out because there's just these little black dots in the sky when his countdown reaches 0, but not too far off in the distance, Lugia shows up. So he was right on the time, just not right on the place. So yeah, Lugia shows up, and all these trainers around get into a raid battle with Lugia, and that's something interesting there. I really have been wanting to see raid battles happen more in Pokemon, and this just is flat out called out as a raid battle like it is. These trainers go on, they attack Lugia, Lugia just wipes them all out, and Ash and Go actually manage to get onto Lugia. And they're riding Lugia around, they're making all these observations, and Lugia is flying them all over the Kanto region. In fact, even as it's going towards the water, because Lugia even takes him underwater, Ash hears Lugia say to him, hang on, as they go down into the water. So they're having this amazing experience throughout the region, observing all these Pokemon. And while this is going on, Ash and Go finally have their first words-to-words when Ash peels Go off from falling to his death from Lugia's tail. And when this is going on, Go just kind of simply says, you're an expressive one. I accept you as my friend. So that was kind of a weird interaction, not exactly the way I expected that to happen, but it happened. So anyway, Lugia, after their adventure, Lugia lets Ash and Go off in this obscure location. They don't know where they've been let off at, and they realize, oh wait, we got to get back to Sakuragi Labs, but they have no idea where they're at. And then later on in the day, they finally make it back to the labs, and they share their findings, their experience with Professor Sakuragi, and Professor Sakuragi is just taken aback by this. He's overjoyed with this data and this footage that they got, and he asks Go and Ash to become fellows at his research institute, research assistants. And they do accept this, and they do that, and they're even showed to their dorm room because Delia's like, well, it'd be a long commute for you, Ash, but Sakuragi has dorms all set up for him. And it's funny here because in the dorm room, these two are fighting over who gets the top bunk. It kind of reminds me back at Police Academy there when I went to the academy. We had a couple of cadets that were fighting over one of the top bunks, and our drill instructor, or our instructor rather, did not take too kindly to that. The movie Full Metal Jacket comes to my mind. But I'm rambling. Anyway, we see that happen, and we also learn that Go doesn't pick his partner Pokemon in this episode. He refuses to pick Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle because he only has one desire, the mythical Mew. And of course, at the end of the episode, we learn that Maimi is being left at Sakuragi Institute with Ash to watch over him, and Delia even asks Go to watch after Ash, completely embarrassing him, but Go accepts this. And yeah, that was pretty much the episode. Now, like I said, I really only had two gripes with this episode. The first part was a couple of moments there with the comedy. It felt like this scene could have been handled just fine without it and still been great, in my opinion. I really hope that they're not going to try to force comedy into every little moment they can, like Sun and Moon did, because it was funny at first, but then it got really annoying. I hope they don't go that route. But these couple of little things I'm talking about, they were so minimal, you could watch the episode again and overlook it, and it would be it'd be okay. You could still notice that, hey, this could have been done without, but hey, it's there. So, you can kind of overlook that. It was a good episode with that. And the other thing I gotta say is, as of right now, I don't know how I feel about Koharu's character, because in this episode, she kind of came across as, I hate to say this, sorry for all you Koharu fans, but this episode, she kind of came across as the spoiled little girl next door kind of feeling in this episode. It's not that I'm not saying she's a bad character, it's just this episode just kind of gave you the vibe of she's like the spoiled little kid next door. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm nagging on her character so far in, it's just this episode kind of rubbed her character off in the wrong way, if that makes any sense. Like I said, I'm not sure how I feel about Koharu right now as of this episode. Maybe that will change. Hopefully that will change. But as of right now, she's one character I'm not too crazy about. Everybody else, though, is really spot on. And remember when I did the episode on Poke Talk when we were talking about Go's character being revealed, and he is the voice actor of Deku from My Hero Academia. And when they did the interviewing process, they basically recorded some dialogue between Satoshi's voice actor and Go's voice actor so that they could compare it. They gave Satoshi's voice actor some lines, and then they had all the voice actors respond to those lines. I really think that paid off here because the Ash and Go dynamic was just great in my opinion, and you can really tell that the show writers and the show staff really went and searched for who would be the best fit for Go. That's what I got from this episode. The interactions just felt so natural. They didn't sound forced. It was just a great kickoff for Ash and Go's partnership for this series, in my opinion. It was just great, in my opinion, on that. But yeah, other than that, like I said, the only two things I had really was the comedy bit there that could have been done without, and Koharu. But other than that, the episode was great, and they're the only two things, in my opinion, that are holding this episode from being a 10 out of 10. Like I said, the music was great, the animation was phenomenal, especially in that raid battle and when Lugia appeared. That animation was really some of the best that Pokemon has done so far. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it right now, that was some of the best animation they've done yet. So I'm still going to stand by that, and I'm sure I'm going to start a debate about that in the comments section. But with that said, though, overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. Like I said, Koharu's introduction here in this episode to Ash and her just kind of appearance here in the episode and those two forced comedy moments there were really the only things that set this episode back and prevented it from being a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. It was a great first episode for Ash and Go together, and so far, Pocket Monsters is shaping up to be a really great show in my opinion. But, as always, in the comments section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this. Did you love the episode? Did you hate the episode? Did you think it was just there? What are your thoughts on Ash and Go's first interactions? What are your thoughts on Koharu? Just let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.